happening, everyone? Welcome to the Sportscast. It's me, Andy Grant. I've got Gary Judge with me from Across the Park podcast. Muskie, our producer, in-house, and we are in the feathers. Bottom of our strap on auto note. Big thanks to them again for letting us record here. Again, Boss Boozer. And this weekend, on Friday, we've got Fran Doran and Joe the Blow on Friday. Boom. Fran's all that from...
both from Red Run Club.
I thought that recognised the name, Fran.
That's some line of that, to be fair.
Wow. There you go.
Bouncing.
Friday, 7:30, Fran Doran and John the Blow Joe the Blow, sorry,
like
Joe.
The
Something I have to blow into him, assume his name.
Trumpet. Who's the trumpet?
And then Saturday, you've got Abby Hodge.
There is a picture of a trumpet on there.
Yeah, sorry, it's my eyesight, it's terrible. And then Saturday, you've got Abby Hodge, 7:30. Also on the Sunday, no doubt you'll have all the footy on as well. So again, get down the feathers, Boss Boozer, Boss Atmosphere, and again, massive thanks to them. Also, before we get into the show, on Monday, we are going to be releasing on Patreon our episode with Ollie France. Unbelievable story. Mountaineer adventurer. If you like all that kind of stuff, outdoorsy, that'll be out on Monday on Patreon. Again, Patreon's just a chance to support the pod, and you'll also get some betting tips from us as well at the weekend. Right. Something else I was going to say then and I forgot. Anyway, it'll come back to me. Right. This week we've got a bit of boxing, UFC, and then just a couple of odd stories on ice hockey, snooker, tennis, darts. Got a bit of everything, but it'll be mostly footy and boxing. I know there's mostly footy fans who kind of support it, so I'll apologise, but we're going to have to just start with boxing. And just a kind of brief look back at last weekend, and I know you wasn't here last week, Gary. By the way, loads of nice messages of support for you, Musk.
Yeah, nice one.
Yeah, I feel quite excited, to be honest.
Well, you know, we've got to...
Must be looking at me just thinking, I was best in that last week.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so we didn't really get a chance to talk about it, me and you, but did you watch it?
No.
You've obviously saw
not losing a night's sleep for that.
Regretfully, I did wake up to watch it. No, more though, for the Katie Taylor-Serrano fight. I got up and watched that.
And I rewatched that. I didn't even...
And then it was a case of, should I now go to sleep because I've watched what I wanted to? Or do I get swept up in the bullshit? And I'm ashamed to say that I got swept up in the bullshit. And it's disgusting. Like, the more and more I think about it, the more and more I'm pissed off with myself. And the more I'm pissed off with the entire boxing world. More and more I'm pissed off with society. More and more I'm pissed off
with... You got up and watched it.
I know, I'm pissed off with myself. Society. First and foremost, myself, I said that. But then the boxing world, then society, then just where we are as fucking humans, man. Like, I think I made a tweet out on my Instagram. If you were anywhere else in the world and you saw a 27-year-old fella having a fight with a 58-year-old fella, and you saw the younger man batter this fella for, 16 minutes, you'd step in, you wouldn't allow it to happen. Yeah, in this day and age, we've put it on Netflix so it could be seen by hundreds of millions of people, and the 27-year-old who's beat up a 58-year-old fella's walked away with 40 million.
58-year-old fella's done all right as well, like.
He has, but, I mean... listen, like, you can't argue.
You've got to say that the 58-year-old fella probably needs it more than the 27-year-old fella.
Yeah.
But all about society, it's sad, I get it. And I don't disagree with most of the things you've said there, but this 58-year-old fella was crying out for the fight, crying out for the money.
I don't get why he's out. Listen, I know all the stuff over the years where the Don King stuff and all that, but I mean, recently, like, I don't... How much money does he need? I mean, I don't know Mike Tyson.
I don't know. It's a little bit of a staying relevant thing. Do you know what I mean? It might not necessarily be just the money, but when I say crying out for the money, he was crying out for the fight, as in he wanted the event, he wanted the spectacle, he wanted to be relevant again. I think that the tweets or the social media interaction that I've seen from him since the fight, he seems immensely proud that there was that many people watching him, that many people wanted to see him, that his kids got a chance to see him in the ring and all that. So he seems fairly fulfilled by it, and that gave me a bit of peace of mind. I think if he'd been like, his head was on the floor thinking that was embarrassing, blah, blah, blah. Everyone else seems to be keen to tell him or tell society what we should think about that fight. Mike Tyson's happy. Obviously, Jake Paul is doing his thing. And again, if you don't know what Jake Paul's about by now, then switch off. Like, he is what he is, and to some extent, he's living the dream. He's picking who he wants to fight. He's doing a sport that he clearly loves. He's making millions of pounds. He's got attention. He's not bothered about the attention. He's lapping it up. Mate, he's smashing it.
He is, and maybe I come across as sounding bitter or jealous, but maybe I'm getting old, because what world are we living in when Dubois, the champion, right, is calling out Jake Paul, a YouTuber? What the fuck?
I haven't seen that, like.
Mate, Dubois fucking slid into his DMs and said, "So me and you have a fight." Do you remember when you were growing up and like Mike Tyson or like Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, all these people, it was like the baddest man on the planet.
Isn't that one of them, though, him wanting a piece of the money?
Yeah,
As in, like,
that's what I mean.
yeah,
Like, what state is boxing in society when you've got the heavyweight champion who should be calling out fucking AJ, could be calling out Usyk, should be calling out Fury.
When you got, professional football players in their prime moving to the best league of the world.
And we moan about that, don't we? So, I mean...
I'm moan about it. I just think the sooner the people... And I'm not being a hypocrite here, because again, I've bemoaned it. I wouldn't say I'm moan about it, but I think the sooner the people realise that, or accept, every person's got the motivation. You talk about it all the time. It's about money, it's about legacy. The people who are bothered about legacy are not doing these things. Like Dubois, I didn't see that had happened. I've lost a big ounce of respect for that, because he shouldn't be, at this moment in time, thinking about fighting Jake Paul.
Gets better. He calls him out. Jake Paul says, "Get in line." Oh. If you're telling me that's not the biggest,
it's embarrassing,
almost disrespect to boxing, that the heavyweight champion's calling out a YouTuber and the YouTuber replies saying, "Get in line."
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
What the fuck is going on? That's the bit where, listen, if Dubois wants to come make as much money as possible in his short kind of 10-year career, got no problem with people wanting to make money. But the kind of the narrative is putting out to young people, that's the thing that bothers me most. Young people were getting in. Some of the champions we see today, look on our doorstep. You've got, the Smith brothers. Their no doubt motivations were the likes of, the kind of legends in the boxing sport. Now people growing up, I think you've got straight away a young lad growing up wanting to get into boxing straight away. They're at a crossroads, and they've got two ways they can go. One, they can do the hard stuff, getting into the likes of the Rotunda, Everton Triangle, putting in the hard yards, working hard day in, day out, be disciplined, watching the diet, doing everything possible, and hope that one day it all works out and they become champion, okay? That takes 10, 15, 20 years of dedication. Or you can act a bit of a knobhead on YouTube, like a class clown, get a bit of a following together, then start doing boxing for 2 or 3 years, and then jump the queue ahead of all your mates who've kind of been in the Rotunda since they were 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You just jump the queue when you're 25, having amassed a massive YouTube following by acting like a dickhead, and then you're then in a position to tell the rest of them, get in line.
Who's the dickhead, though? The dickhead who's...
It's society.
Exactly, yeah. So I guess my question is, do we not bring young people up to try and be successful and try and find the angle? The world changes all the time. If you're going to be the person, and I'm not saying, by the way, that the boxers who are in the gym working hard are behind the times. I'm just saying, if you're the person who's looking around you and going, okay, well, I need to change, I need to adapt if I'm going to be successful. Now, again, the definition of success again is what we need to find here. If you want to be a legend of the sport and you want to be appreciated for your skills and your hard work and your endeavour and all the things that the boxers of the past were, then you go down that route. That's not going to change. If you want to be successful in terms of being rich, then unfortunately you need to be that dickhead, because that's the way the world is. No. So I think, and again, so I'm not arguing with you, but I think the question should be, what are we trying to teach our young people when they're growing up? Are we teaching them just to follow previous generations and do what has happened before? Or are we teaching people to be pioneers and do it a different way?
No, yeah, and I can't argue with what you said either. It makes a great point. It just, again, maybe it's me getting old, it just makes me sad to think that, God, the days of when you're watching those big fights and now you just got kids thinking, yeah, but do I really need to do that, or can I just...
Will some people not be saying, again, mate, I'm flipping it out for you to be reflective, will some people not argue, okay, well, back in the day it was about getting up, going to work, working hard, doing it, and then bringing the money, and now it's about getting up in the morning, making sure you post, making sure you say something on social media. You do that consciously every day.
And I hate myself.
But that's an important part, isn't it? So, if you didn't do that, you wouldn't get very much work.
It's like the biggest hypocrite because I fucking hate social media, yet I'm on it every day. But if we could all go back to a world with no social media, mate, I would hit that button now. I honestly would. I fucking hate it.
I won't argue with that, but I think that the reality is it's not going to happen, is it?
And that's what I don't like about people I respect and I like Tony Bellew. I heard him on TalkSport and he was saying anyone associated to boxing who's let this happen, it's our fault, boxing's fault. Yeah, he was going with Paddy Power to the press conferences.
In the press conference, trying to almost calling him out.
And to be fair to Tony, he did kind of say, like, we are all the problem. He said it's like us, so he did include himself in that, but...
He's gone down that if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I'm saying here.
Yeah, it just... And I get it, and I don't want to come across as bitter and jealous. Maybe I do sound that way. I'm not jealous in anyone making money. It's just sad for a kind of sport where you looked at almost heroes like gods and you're going, fucking hell, these gods that we looked up to are getting told to get in line by a fucking YouTuber. It breaks my heart. It does.
All I would say, and again, this is not me preaching because I've been just as frustrated as you and everyone else, but like in a literal sense, you just need to scroll past it.
No. But it's hard though, isn't it now?
Yeah, it is.
There's that much noise about it.
Do you know what though? Because of how effective the algorithms are now, if you don't look at it, you don't see it. You know what I mean? If you do literally scroll past it, eventually your social media will not show you what.
Of course, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it was hard this week because it was on Netflix, but yeah, I get what you mean.
And again, that's me. Literally, I don't see it on my because I don't give it any time. The only thing I think I've seen in the last few weeks, which sadly got me interested, and it was more the fact that it is is the Darren Till thing. I seen it.
Don't worry, we're going to come on to that in a minute.
That did come on my timeline, and that's because I think it got sent in our WhatsApp, so I opened it. And then again, I looked at something else.
Fucked up your algorithm, then what?
It did, exactly. That's it. No, I've got Misfits.
Can someone stop sending me naked women then, please? Because my algorithm's fucked. Yeah, and just the last kind of bit of moaning on this, it's like, it's given me kind of, like, listen, I've said it a few times on the pod, my favourite boxer of recent times, Callum Smith. I fucking love him to bits, how he fights, everything about him. But I think boxing at the moment is just giving me almost like Callum Smith vibes in the sense that you could argue, and I love him to bits, like he's my favourite fighter. But it pisses me off how his name is not more in the conversation. When you look at the defeats on his record, he's only been beat by, what was it, Canelo and, was it Bentacur, was it?
Bentacur, yeah.
He's only been beaten by them two, right? And yeah, it baffles me how his name is not mentioned more.
Can I say something? I'm not talking on Callum's behalf by any means. He's not asked.
No, I know.
So like that,
I know.
Again, the message is going like, he's probably the perfect example of going, do you know what? He wants to be remembered for the reasons that...
And that's brilliant.
About before.
But kind of me as a fan that wants to be like, yeah, Callum, my favourite fighter, yeah, he's on top of the bill. I'm like, why is he not getting spoken about? And yeah, this Jake Paul is calling out Canelo. Now, I don't think this Jake Paul wants to fight Canelo, but it's again, he's just making the right noise to keep himself relevant because he wants to keep this gravy train going. And the second he fights someone of relevance, he'll get obviously battered. But that's the space I see boxing in now. You're not getting the big fights for being the best. Like, for example, Callum.
He did, though.
He did, but I don't...
He did, and again...
I think he could have fought more, though.
Yeah, well, I think that would be the honest, I guess, critique that some promoters would push Callum's ways. I say, look, if you'd have been more active on social media, if you'd have been a bit more trashy rather than classy, then you would have got those fights. And I think if he was going to be honest, he'd probably say, yeah, maybe I would have done, but that's not the way I wanted to do it. That's not how I wanted to spend my time outside of the ring. And
I respect Callum more for that in a way.
Yeah, I respect the boxers, though, who've done it the other way, because that was their choice. They'd made that conscious choice. So, I'm not...
Oh, it's an interesting debate. You make up some good points. It's what you... And I'm pretty sure if you put a gun to your head now and say which kind of ones you respect or you want more, you'd like to see more, you'd probably say the Callum Smith kind of...
Without doubt, I think, an interesting one is at the moment, again, I don't want to drag him into it because it's his brother, but Stephen Smith's obviously got a stable of fighters now that he's the coach for. If you look at the stable of fighters, they're all so different. Like, some of them are your Callum Smith, keep their head down, whatever. Some of them are outspoken, and like, does Stephen think more or less of one or the other? I don't think so. I think what he's asked about is what they do in the gym and how they train. Yeah. Are they going to get... You taking my car out there? Is one boxer going to get more fights than the other? I think Stephen will probably know the answer to that as well, but it's... yeah.
In my mind, and I'm sure maybe boxers who are maybe in the game might think, I'm happy with this because it's generating more money. I personally think it's a bad thing, and I think boxing's in a bad place at the moment. And it was added to, in my opinion, by the Serrano-Katie Taylor fight. Number one, I mentioned it last week with Musk. You could argue that they're getting a great payday. Great. But it's a great payday on the back of a fucking clown show in a fucking circus. It's like, give them the great money and make it this great spectacle and have it top of the bill. But no, instead, the fucking egos of Jake Paul made them second in the bill, which I think was a bit...
Can I ask you a question then?
Was tarnished a little bit.
Can I ask you a question again? I don't need to keep flipping it back.
Fucking on one today, and again.
No, I'm just asking a genuine question. So, if you get asked by an organisation, a business, to come in and do a tour next week, right? And they're going to give you, let's just call it a simple number, going to give you the pounds, right? It's going to give you £1, Andy, but you're going to be the main bill. So your show, you're going to do it the way you want to do it, etc., etc. Yeah, no problem. Okay, leave that with me. I'll try and book it in. Phone goes 2 minutes later. Someone else wants to book it in. Same gig, same job you're going to be doing. You're going to get paid 10 times the money, but you're going to be second to this idiot. I could put some names in here that I know you despise, but I don't want to cause you beef on social media as well. What are you doing?
Yeah, no, I'm not... That's not my point, though. My point is boxing, in a sense that it's like, this is good for boxing. It's generating more money. Great, okay.
Is that not good for guest speakers, though?
Yeah, but my point is, though, the way they're trying to bring up...
Motivational speakers, sorry, I didn't want to...
But the way they're trying to bring up women's boxers, right, over the years and trying to get it almost a bit more of a level playing field, because let's face it, for years, women will get nowhere near the money they deserve. So they're doing a good job of bringing it up, but then they're still going, like, as great as it is, two of the best women boxers we've ever had, we're going to pay you loads of money, but you're still second to this clown show, though. That's the bit that doesn't sit well at all.
But there's been some male fighters, though, who've had exactly the same. They've been on Misfits bills and been second, and it's been a title fight, or title fight.
That's the thing. So it's just whether... All right, well, I didn't know that, but that's the thing that's the disgust about it. You can argue and go, yeah, it's bringing in more money and more eyes.
I think it's a credit to Serrano and Taylor to be...
I reckon the more eyes were on that second fight than the first fight, and that's because it was easier to access because it was on Netflix and it was on the back of...
And that's a point as well, the broadcasting side of it, not having pay-per-view. Because pay-per-view obviously is driven by, okay, we need to make our money some way from the fight. But if you've got a platform like Netflix or YouTube or whatever who decides to take it on, they're putting the money in.
I suppose, yeah. Might have been Netflix saying that this is going to be... Yeah.
So in terms of views, it's like one of the biggest views sporting events
ever.
And then in terms of like the ticket sales, they were selling some seats for like 2.5 mil.
Yeah.
And again, that breaks records, whether we like it or not, whether we like the style of boxing or who's on or whatever. But in terms of business sense, they're definitely going to do it again, aren't they?
Well, the more controversial thing, I don't know if you've watched the fight, but in my opinion, Katie Taylor did not win that fight. Serrano threw more punches, landed more punches, had a better percentage, and Katie Taylor had the point deducted, and yet she won on all three scorecards. No.
Not the first time, it's happened, not the last time. However, I wouldn't say I completely disagree with you, but it's so subjective, isn't it? As a judge looking at the fight, it depends what you like. You don't, as a judge, unfortunately in boxing, at a professional level, it's not scores on stats. It's not amateur where it's okay, they've landed more punches, generally they're getting a...
But even now, amateur isn't really like that anymore. Yeah, but like the old school Olympic amateur, like Amir Khan scored on like just picking people off. But yeah, in terms of the whole fight, it could even just be not the judges like, do you know what, Katie Taylor's just like leaning in too much here. I'm not actually getting much from it. And
I think she could have been cut a couple of points the way she was leaning with her head. I felt so sorry for Serrano. I really did. Listen, love Katie Taylor, love what she's done. I actually like Eddie Hearn and how he's built it up, the way he has done with AJ and all that. But nah, I'm not having that at all. I think she got beat.
I just think in boxing, unfortunately, it's the same with MMA to some extent. The only way you're guaranteeing to win is if you knock the other person out. And that's where, like, you know... you go in preparing to fight it, and you can be as tactical as you want of going, this is how I want to break that fighter down. And in that case, Serrano probably goes, I've fought the perfect fight. It's exactly how I wanted that fight to go. But you can't put it in the mercy of the judges. You just can't.
No.
And I think boxing history proves that. It doesn't matter where you look. And as much as we can be more critical of it now, there was worse decisions back in the day than what we're seeing now.
No, totally.
It's never changed. Where it's a combat sport, particularly, boxing, but to a certain extent, mixed martial arts as well. You've got to just seal the deal with a knockout. And you maybe look back at the fight that we lost a few weeks ago, the MMA fight with Dean Garner. Like, that was two fighters trying to knock the other person out. And the only way that was ended in a guaranteed win for one or the other was one knocking the other out, wasn't it? Imagine that going to the scorecard, you'd have been like...
Yeah, it would have been like toss. Yeah. But I just think the way all three of them give... You could... Anyway... I just thought that was, again, with me being my negative mindset with boxing at the minute, that was just another thing to go, boxing's fucked. And then to top it all off, as we start getting over that circus, another circus rolls into town, and that's with KSI leading the way with Tommy Fury and Darren Till and John Fury as a side act. Like, honestly, mate, I'm nearly at a point where I don't even want to talk about boxing or UFC.
I said a while ago, though, didn't I? This is WWE. This isn't boxing. Like, the sooner everyone accepts that this is WWE, not boxing, the better. You remember like WWF it was when I was a kid? I used to love it. And I knew it was fake. I knew it was like daft. And at times it was really socially and moral. Some of the stuff that was going on.
If you watched that,
chairs over people's heads.
Smashing chairs was the worst thing. It was the least worst thing. If you watched that Vince McMahon documentary,
some of the stuff that but I mean, some of the stuff that was aired on the TV. Obviously, there was stuff going on in the background. Stuff that was aired on the TV, like it was a soap opera and all that.
Yeah, your moral, looking back now, the moral compass of those people, mate, was fucking seriously skewed.
You've got to just accept that this is modern WWE. I mean, I don't even know anyone who watches WWE anymore, but that's maybe my age. I think this is our modern day WWE, this Misfits boxing.
Yeah, so it's just them.
I agree. I shouldn't even mention the word boxing and just call it Misfits fighting or Misfits playing.
So it rolled into town for anyone who's not seen it. Tommy Fury is going to fight Darren Till in January, I think it is. Like, what even do you fucking say about it? Like,
I'll be honest, I don't want to say anything about it.
I know Darren Till, answer me.
I wouldn't.
But you know why?
Hold this podcast. I don't need to say what I think about it. Those two fighters have entered into this agreement for the same reasons.
I get that. The only reason now I'm so fucking gutted about it, right? And in a way, it's a bit of a kind of chuck up to Darren Till. I fucking loved Darren Till. I was in there in the Echo when he fought Cowboy. I fucking loved Darren Till, a UFC fighter. I've been to, I think, 2 or 3 of his fights. I fucking love him. And to see him doing this, I'm like, mate, come on. Like, it breaks me. It fucking winds. I get he's doing it for money or he's whatever. I don't know why he's doing it, but I just don't know. Why? I don't know why he's doing it.
The only person
it's the offer that's on the table, isn't it?
What?
It might be one of the only offers that's on the table.
If you believe what he said in the in the boxing social interviews, he's saying nobody else would take a fight with me. Like we've sent numerous offers out to numerous fighters, no one will fight me, and this is an option. He said, I sent the offer, I just didn't expect him to accept it. Now he's accepted it. It's on.
What you say? I'm just gutted about it. And Tommy Fury, like, you speak to anyone on the street and they say, who's Tommy Fury? And they'd say Molly May's ex-fella. Darren Till was in an octagon fucking a few years ago, battering people. And now he's fighting, if you asked anyone on the street, Molly May's ex-fella. That fucking breaks me. And then KSI as well, saying to fucking both of them, oh, I'm your daddy now, you're working for me type thing. I'm surprised Darren Till just didn't bang him there and then. I'm fucking lucky.
You wouldn't have got paid then.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway. But that's another thing, right? December and January is going to be fucking skewed with John Fury gobbing off, isn't it? Probably closer to January now, thankfully. He'll probably give it a rest for a few weeks. In fact, he won't. Because fucking his other son's fighting. So we've just got now 6 to 8 weeks of John Fury acting like a knobhead at press conferences. Shall we move on? Well, we can't even properly move on because UFC, you had John Jones, he beat Stipe, gets given the mic, gets the chance to say what everyone wanted, and that was to call out Tom Aspinall, and he calls out Jesus and says, thanks the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Who do you want to fight next? I just want to thank Jesus first. Fuck off and fight the next in line. Do you know what I mean?
So people aren't allowed to thank Jesus. That they've done. Like,
all right, thanks Jesus. Yeah. Now, Tom, come on, let's get it on.
Yeah.
Instead, he just went, no, I just want to thank the Lord Jesus. Do you know what I mean? But Tom Aspinall has been
on one today.
But Tom Aspinall has been waiting there for his shot at the title and become, the main man in the division. And it's been held up by John Jones' injury. He's come back from his injury, fair play. He's beat Stipe, fair play. Fight Tom now. And he's not.
Think he will?
He's come out and said no. He's come out and just blatantly just duck on the fight, and he's going to fight Is it Oliveira, I think?
Or
Not Oliveira. Is it Oliveira?
Or is it just that he's saying no until there's an offer worth saying yeah for?
Or Pereira, or I can't remember the lad he's choosing to fight, but he's come out and he just... No, but the one thing I will give him credit for, he's been honest, and he's like, why would I, like... He said, if you're my team, you're not going to pick Tom, are you? And I get that.
So again, you're now being critical of fighters who are not making decisions based on the legacy.
But if you're
not fighting.
Well, exactly. But if you're at the top of the game, right? You're as the heavyweight champion, right?
It's like watching it. Is it Rocky 3 or 4? Rocky 5, the one where he's literally coached the kid and he cut Tommy Gunn.
Yeah.
Rocky doesn't want to fight Tommy Gunn because he's a young up and coming and he's the legend. And it's like, whoa, don't fancy this. He doesn't want to get in the ring with an absolute pup.
Well, just give your belt up then. Because what does Tom Aspinall do now?
I mean, that's where
he's beat everyone in the division.
That's where, in that instance, that shouldn't be the fighters. That's where the UFC needs to get a grip of John Jones and go, no, this is what the public want to see. This is what Tom Aspinall deserves. You either surrender your title or you make the fight. That's not John Jones' fault.
No, it's not. But you'd like to see, wouldn't you, him go, yeah, come on then, boom, next.
And that's where over the years UFC's been better than boxing, because normally that will happen, and this is one of the few times, and I don't know if it's like kind of creeping in now that there's more money and all that kind of stuff.
I don't know if it's like they've lost Francis Ngannou. They don't want to risk losing John Jones by saying you know what I mean. So
to be fair, he's only got one. He said he might even retire. He's probably only got one, max 2 fights left in him anyway. But I'd just be gutted for Tom because I think Tom will be at the top of the division for the next however long he wants to, and that'll just be the question hanging over him is most of his career.
Not his fault,
would he have fought and beat John Jones?
Not his fault though, is
it? And out of the UFC, someone who I did love once upon a time, Conor McGregor. At the moment, he's in a civil court case as a woman claims that he raped her in 2018, and the court will decide if he concocted a I can never say that word. Lurid. Is it lurid?
I can't see what it says.
Anyway, lurid and degrading porno fantasy. No, it's not lurid. 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 Disgusting, basically. Yeah. The court's going to decide if Conor McGregor conducted a lurid and degrading porno fantasy as he raped, allegedly.
Is this the one when he admitted he takes cocaine?
Yeah. Yeah, shock horror.
Yeah.
But so anyway, as the next day or two, I think it'll probably come out by the time you listen to this, sometime Friday, if not Monday, Tuesday. A court will decide whether he was guilty or not. I think in Dublin, you only need, 9 out of the 12 to say yeah, and he'll be guilty. He won't face any prison time, but he will have a hefty fine.
He won't face any prison time for
No, it's a civil court. It's weird.
Oh, it's a civil court. Okay.
So it's not, there wasn't enough evidence or something to go, I don't know the full... But anyway, my point is, just to kind of finish on the whole combat sports, has there been a bigger rise and fall than Conor McGregor? I don't think there's been a bigger rise because, listen,
fall.
Depends what maybe like a fall is.
Lance Armstrong was a big fall from where he was. It wasn't like, worldwide rise as quick as Conor McGregor, but in terms of his fall was pretty lost everything, like pretty steep, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point on the Lance Armstrong fall. A rise and the fall together, though, I think. The only reason to say rise and fall, I know he's still got his fans, clearly, but one of the big problems with this court case, what I was reading, is it's impossible for anyone on a jury to be
totally
objective.
Yeah.
Totally impartial, just because of who he is. So Conor McGregor's kind of side was saying, look, you might hate this man from what you've seen in the media. You need to ignore all that and focus on the facts of the case. But from what you've seen over Conor McGregor over the last 10 years, say, 7, 8, 9 years, you will either love him or hate him. You will either love the fact that he's come from the dole, earning, 160 quid a week, and now he's got the 10 G's, baby. He's took over America. You've seen his iron flag. We've come here to take over. You've seen him all that on a boat now. And then you've also seen him knock out old men in pubs. Seen him, apparently he's got a kid in Aintree after one visit to the Grand National, if you believe the papers. He's allegedly raped women. He's threw women off his private yachts in Monaco. He's fucking through a dolly in a van and cut a UFC. You might hate him, and it's the feeling is in Ireland is he's not well liked. He's not a well liked person in Ireland. If you read the many reports I read, so it's just a mad one, isn't it? Just a rise and fall of Conor McGregor. Like if he gets found guilty with this, I don't think it'll. Well, he's not going to go to jail, but just that public opinion of him just sways even more, doesn't it? Towards just a negative way.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've got anything to offer on that.
What is your view on him in general?
I think my view on him from a sporting perspective is he changed the game when he come on the scene in terms of the way he promoted himself and the way he conducted himself in public in terms of looking like $1 million, and in terms of his fashion and the shape he was in coming into fights and backing that up in the early stages, and then his personality or his persona just becoming just overriding the sporting ability, and it's just become it was like you had his personality there and his sporting ability, and at first they were both like gathering equal momentum, and then that
point when they both touched together was when he beat Magic. Who did he beat when he become two weight champion?
No better than me.
I think that was the point. I agree when they both
of equal measure, like equal respect,
synchronicity, whatever you call it.
And then
after that,
and the other one went like that, and now the other one, I think he's been a unique character, like if you call it that, because it's at times, as we've discussed here, combat sports in particular can be like a soap opera, and he's been a unique character in this big soap opera.
Right, I'll get through a few quick stories and then we'll finish on footy. So, remember ages ago we spoke about ice hockey. There was a lad who was killed.
Oh God, yeah.
So the lad who basically killed the lad has been rebailed for unprecedented circumstances. So all that's still getting investigated.
It was such a bizarre case, wasn't it? I think we both agreed that it was really harsh to kind of convict someone on with such a fine line.
So yeah, that's still rumbling on, believe it or not. I thought it was an interesting one. There's so much talk about men and women transgender stuff in snooker. Women's world snooker champion by Yulu. She fell short in a bid to become the first woman to earn a place at the main draw. I guess it just asked the question, should men and women be able to play together? I think probably snooker is one.
In snooker.
That's what I was going to say.
Big darts, isn't it? So it's.
Well, she failed in the last qualifier. If she beat the last qualifier, she'd be in the first round proper against the likes of Ronnie O'Sullivan. But she unfortunately was beaten. But again, it is that whole thing of which sports should men and women be allowed to compete in.
I think that's definitely up there with who cares. It doesn't matter.
No.
Not who cares. It definitely doesn't matter, does it? Like poker. Why does it matter if you're male or female?
No,
I guess there's a little bit of physicality in snooker in terms of like.
Yeah, but not fucking hell.
No. You don't see like big meatheads in snooker, do you? Because and being better than someone else because they're bigger.
On the juice.
Yeah. So the way he's screwing that black back, lad, he's definitely on the juice, him.
So yeah, that in golf, you had Rory McIlroy won he won in Dubai. I think it was the third time on the spin. It's for the sixth time and his fourth title in 2024. I think. Listen, if Rory retired tomorrow, he'd go down as one of the greats. But I don't ever think of Rory McIlroy as a serial winner.
No,
do you?
A mercurial talent and obviously
maybe being a bit harsh on there, but I mean, great that he won, and I was kind of thought it's right, Rory, but I don't ever look at him and think
he's had some shocking Sundays, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, definitely.
In darts, we had Luke Littler won his first major TV ranking title on debut, and he's already eyeing Phil Taylor's titles.
That's brilliant.
One match he won 15 straight legs.
Was the final. So he was 2-0 down, and then he won 15 legs on the bounce, and then Lushman won one. The leg when
he was about to win it.
Yeah, when Littler was about to win it, but it was a ridiculous run of darts. I mean, Lushman wasn't even playing that bad. Lushman beat Rob Cross in the semis, which was a bit of a shock. And yeah. Going into was it the quarters actually that I think he beat him, and then he beat Mansell in the semis. But it was literally a very one side. It was always going to be a one sided match. But Lukeman took a 2-leg lead, and it could get interesting in this. And then Littler just blew him away. I think it was like 14 180s to 3.
I think the whole idea of like legacy and stuff like that, if he continues at this trajectory that he's on, there's no doubt he will finish the best ever.
Some of the mad stuff he was doing in this game as well. So when he's won 12 legs on the bounce, he was just literally starting every leg, just trying to get a 9 darter. And then if he weren't getting a 9 darter, he was deliberately throwing other darts to try and put himself on 170 to see if he could come out on the big fish. Just like there was one where he threw 2 treble 20s. He had the chance to throw a third treble 20 to get onto like 130 something. And he deliberately just threw a 12 to put himself on 170. And it was like, that is just ridiculous.
That's when you're in that flow state in it and you're just like going. So fair. We still said he must be 18 in January, I think.
Yeah, he's 18 this coming.
Yeah, because he kind of come on the stage, didn't he, this time last year, for last year's December.
17 just after the Worlds. Yeah. Well, the draw for the Worlds is next week for the first round, and I can't wait.
And then last tennis, and until we get on to footy then, so Nadal, wow, this is crazy stuff for you if you haven't heard this. This is unbelievable. So Rafa Nadal retired, unfortunately got beaten his first game in Malaga in the Billie Jean Cup.
Davis Cup?
Yeah, the Billie Jean Cup, they call it, yeah. It brings to an end, is probably going to be his last ever game. Now, he was known as he's one of the GOATs anyway, but especially on clay. Have you seen his stats in Roland Garros? The French Open? Have you heard this?
Only from your notes, so I'll let you run with it.
So, in Roland Garros, i.e. France's Wimbledon, he played 116 games, right, and won 112.
Wow.
That's a 96.
And I bet a few of them were quite early on, like maybe 1 or 2.
He got beat twice by Djokovic, once by, I can't remember the other two, but he's got a 96.6.
Twice in finals.
I think they all have been on finals, I think.
No, what? So he's never not got to a final.
Honestly, I don't know. That's
no,
not
that'd be the interest, but still, that's
116 times he's played and 112 wins. That's a 96.6% win ratio.
Nobody's ever beaten that
in the French Open.
Has ever beaten that in any major. Ever.
Absolute crazy. And you know what's made me sad about that? You know, you look at sport and rivalries, like you see Federer's poster bar and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? That was just a proper respect. They went toe to toe, and Federer never beat him on clay. Just the respect that they had there. Quite sad, but again, one of the 3 greats that we've had in the sports hanging up his racket.
One of the Federer's not going to be far behind him, is he?
Federer gone.
Oh, sorry, no,
Djokovic, you mean?
Djokovic, yeah. I mean, Djokovic's probably got a couple of years, but I don't think the injuries he's had recently.
Yeah, he's slowing down a bit now. And then last bits on tennis, you had Sinner. I think he's probably the next crop, and he's just won the ATP in Turin. Almost, I'd say new kid in town. He's obviously been around a bit, but I think the fact that Nadal's now gone, and it's only it's kind of time for him now. And then obviously you can't mention tennis, not mention Emma Raducanu. She actually,
you can.
I can't. No, she was unbeaten in the Davis Cup. Never lost a game, and she's got a new fitness coach in now, as she's looking to have probably a first injury-free season. Fingers crossed she does, and we can actually see what she's actually made of. Right. Probably good all that, because there was no footy to talk about, to be fair, was there, as it were the internationals. So there is a little bit to talk now to round the show off. First being Pep looks like he signed a 1-year extension, which would be interesting, I think, the time of it, given the fact that these 115 charges are still looming. I think the fact that you've got, I've seen a stat there, there's a lot of their players who are like around the 29, 30. So I think if he is going to, I know it's only a year extension, but you think if he is going to do something,
it's going to have to be a little bit of turnover in the...
I think a little bit, yeah. You look at De Bruyne getting injured quite a bit, isn't he? Whether that's age, he's obviously getting older anyway.
Yeah, he's going to have to boil a little bit, hasn't he? And...
I just think it's interesting. On one hand, if you're City's owners, you're thinking we need to do everything we can to keep Pep. But then actually, if he's only signing a year one, that to me doesn't show a massive look towards the future. Do you know what I mean? And then you could just start argue again, if you're going to talk about Pep for a minute, just on where he is in regards to like the greatest ever. And I don't think, listen, I'd sound like an idiot if I said I didn't rate him. Clearly, he's a fantastic manager. But I just don't think you can put him alongside. Well, clearly you can.
We're say you can't put him alongside Klopp.
You can clearly put him alongside any manager in the world when it comes to trophies. But when it comes to a manager coming to a club, building it up, winning things, he hasn't done that, unfortunately for him. He was in a Barcelona team that had Messi, which I think any of us 3 years could have managed. Messi won the Ballon d'Or about 7 times when he was under Guardiola. So, not saying that he didn't have to manage.
And by his own admission, he said that, didn't he? He literally said.
He went from Barcelona to a Bayern Munich team who just won the treble and managed to make them worse. And then he went to Man City. Well, he did, because he never won the treble the next season, did he? So by stats and factually, he did make them worse.
Klopp made you worse then as well.
How?
Well, a couple of managers before it, Benitez won more trophies, didn't he?
No, but let's just go on the one he replaced.
Yeah, okay. Well, the ones he replaced were pretty poor.
So, and then he's went to Man City, who've, at the moment, got 115 charges hanging over them for cheating.
Not his fault, is it?
No, it's not. But I'm saying, where you look at Fergie, took Aberdeen to a European Cup final, comes to United, fucking builds them into one of the biggest teams.
It was terrible first few seasons.
Yes.
Atkinson was best on him at first.
Exactly. And built them into what they are today. You've got Mourinho, took Porto fucking to United, beat them, won the European Cup. That famous, where he's running down Old Trafford. Wins the European Cup, goes to Chelsea, makes Chelsea one of the greatest teams. I think defensively, that Chelsea team, I think they conceded like 12 goals all season. Mourinho went something like however many years without getting beat at home. So again, Chelsea weren't the biggest team in England when he come. He turns them into an absolute powerhouse. Then he goes to...
was City the biggest team in England when...
They just won the league, under Pellegrini.
They weren't the biggest team in England, though, were they?
They'll never be the biggest team in England, though, will they?
Hadn't Chelsea won the league the season before last when...
He'd walked in and Man City had already won the league, though. I think Mancini and then Pellegrini had won it. So they'd already won, say, 2 out of the last 3 seasons. So you'd argue they were already...
They didn't know Pellegrini won the league. I think it was Mancini, though.
Then you had... I think Mourinho goes from Chelsea. Does he go to then Inter Milan or Real Madrid first?
It was Inter Milan first.
Inter Milan, he wins the treble. Inter Milan. Again, Inter Milan, you could argue, weren't the biggest team in Italy. You've got Juventus, all the other teams, AC Milan. There's a lot of big teams in Italy. Again, he doesn't just dominate in Italy, he wins in Europe as well. Then he goes to Real Madrid, takes on the mighty Barcelona, does well there. Then he goes back to Chelsea, I think, doesn't he? Does he? Takes the only team he's managed and he didn't win anything with was Tottenham. He goes to United. Fucking United.
You don't need to like read out Mourinho's CV, mate, to say he's.
So the point is, he's been to clubs that haven't been great, and he's still won things. And then you look at Klopp, what Klopp done with Liverpool. He's obviously done it at Dortmund as well, taking on the mighty Bayern. He's done it. He got promoted with Mainz. Guardiola could never and has never done anything remotely like that. He's walked in to teams that have either had the greatest footballer in the world, a team that's just won the treble, or a team that's got 115 charges hanging over them. They're the 3 teams Pep's had successor. Like, they are the facts. I don't think he's like this the greatest manager of all time for those reasons.
I don't believe he's the greatest. I think we listed a while ago.
I think there's 3 managers that are better than Fergie, Mourinho and Klopp.
I think Klopp's a better manager than Pep.
So do you not think...
A better coach.
All right, answer me this then. During the years that Pep and Klopp were going head to head in the Prem...
You're just going to bring the charges into it?
I'm not. If Pep was in charge of Liverpool and Klopp was in charge of Man City, do you think all the trophies would have went the same way?
Not necessarily. I think there's been a slightly different distribution, but...
So what as in more Man City or more Liverpool?
But it's hard to say, isn't it? Because the recruitment would have been completely different.
Okay, yeah. So
they bought different players.
So if Klopp was at the helm of City and if Guardiola was at the helm of Liverpool...
I don't think Klopp would have won as many trophies at City as Pep won.
And do you think Pep would have won more or less than Klopp had at Liverpool?
He didn't win that many anyways in the end, does he?
Klopp?
Yeah.
What did he win? 8? 7, 8?
Yeah, and in that time,
so
he won 20.
Yeah, so I'm saying, so if Pep was in charge of Liverpool while Klopp was, would Pep have won more or less than Klopp?
I think it's debatable. I don't.
That's what I'm asking you.
I mean, I think there's so many. I think that's a really straightforward question.
What do you think?
I don't think it's the fit. I don't think it's the right fit. If I'm honest,
as a Liverpool fan, I'm going to agree with you there. Like,
yeah.
But in terms of how one of the reasons Klopp did so well at Liverpool was the connection with the fans.
Exactly. I don't think
all that kind of stuff.
I think it's horses for courses. I don't think Klopp would have had the same impact at City. I just don't. I just don't think he's chose to go there. I don't think Pep was chose to go to Liverpool.
The reasons why we liked Klopp so much is probably that those kind of qualities probably aren't actually needed at a club like City.
Yeah, but I think it's very flippant to go the connection with the fans. Listen, I'm the first one to talk about the connection with Klopp and the fans. However,
I'm not saying he's a shit. By the way.
Hang on a sec. Yeah, but let's just make it clear a sec. If Liverpool hadn't won fuck all in 3 years and hadn't shown no progress, wouldn't have mattered the connection with the fans. He would have got fucked off. So this whole connection, he's a man of the people and he's got our same political values and he's all that for us. Yeah, that's great. But if
Didn't
Klopp,
leave for a long time, though.
if Klopp hadn't, yeah, but we show progression every season. If he hadn't done that, he would have got fucked off.
All you've gone on about there is like the trophies and stuff and all the different things that people have won at different clubs. He didn't win the league for a while, a good while. I don't think you'd have had. Again, I don't want to contradict myself because I don't think it's the right fit. It would have been the right fit, but I don't think it would have took Pep that long to win the league.
If he was Liverpool manager?
If he was a manager of a Premier League team in that position, yeah.
I don't think you fucking where we were when Rodgers got sacked. Fucking Bentacur up front. I would have loved to have seen Guardiola coaching him.
Well, he's the Klopp. He put Stephen Corker on instead.
Anyway, so Pep's going to be with us for another year anyway. My point is, yeah, we can debate that all day, but I think, he's not. I think it's a bad move for City. Well, not a bad move, but he hasn't got that. If he's only signing a year contract, I'd be thinking, has he got City's long-term interests in his mind?
Unless he's thinking, I need another year to make sure that I don't leave them in the shit.
Maybe. We don't know.
Like he's signing the deal while they're 5 points off the top, and he might be thinking, I don't want to go out not winning it.
Yeah.
Imagine if he goes out, he don't win it, and they get whacked with 150.
In hindsight's a beautiful thing as well. Though. If we're sitting here this time next year, as we alluded to a couple of weeks ago, and you have walked the league with Arne Slot, are you still talking about Klopp in the same breath? I don't think you are. Has he made hard work of this?
No, I
could be. I don't know.
I think he's left the foundations for us. We're going to keep it on managers for a few more minutes. Steven Gerrard's brought Michael Beale into Saudi. You know what that is? That just stinks of, Everton being like in the break glass for fucking Sam Allardyce. Stevie's going break glass for Michael Beale as this payday is going to come to an end. He's fucking smashing that glass, getting Michael Beale in, and he doesn't want the Saudi money to come to an end because they're not doing great out there. He obviously had massive success with Beale up at Rangers. It's not going well.
They got rid of the assistant manager.
There's tax implications are fucking on the horizon.
The director of football. Look, again, it's call it what you want. Michael Beale's a top coach. I work on Michael Beale at Liverpool, and he obviously done a great job at Rangers. Was doing a very good job at Villa, and there's no coincidence that was a big dip after he left. Michael Beale went his own way. It didn't work out for him, so you can
maybe he's better as number 2. Yeah.
Well, that's it. It didn't work out for him, like it or not. It's not worked out for him when he's been number 1 at Rangers, at QPR. I mean, QPR, he was actually doing well to start, but then made that decision to leave, which clearly wasn't the right decision for a number of reasons. Well, we none of us can say we sit and watch the Saudi League. You have to look at the league tables and say it's not going particularly well for El Ettifaq, but
let's hope Michael Beale can turn things around. Otherwise, Stevie's going to have a naughty tax headache, isn't he? You got Lampard.
He would have a tax headache.
He's probably done all right.
Stay over there.
Just have a 3-year holiday to make sure he doesn't have to pay any tax. You got Lampard going to Coventry.
That actually happening?
Looks like it's in the final.
Funny that, because Paul Mason called it, didn't he, on Saturday? Which is, Paul Mason isn't necessarily the one who's studying, whatever. He just went, if you're getting rid of...
he was doing all right, the manager, wasn't he? I seen that clip of him.
Name again? Ex-Norwich player, isn't the Norwich player?
I know, I can't think of his name, but he was doing well and they got rid of him.
Mark Robbins. So if you're getting rid of Mark Robbins, who's done the job he's done over the last 3 years, you need to be bringing in a name. Frank Lampard, they bring Frank, and he literally said Frank Lampard, so class that if he's called that.
I think West Ham fans doing very Everton fans things and now regretting letting Moyes go, I think. Lopetegui looks like he might be out the door.
It took us a while for us to say that, though, to be fair.
It did, but...
He didn't say 2 years later, it was like 6 years later.
That will be, honestly, I will fucking die on me fucking hill with me flag in my hand for that one. I honestly... baffles me Everton fans saying about Moyes, anyone when they slag Moyes, and now I'll throw West Ham in that same category.
But what if they would have won something with Martinez?
We were very close.
What if? Yeah,
we finished 5th.
What if we would have won something with Brendan Rodgers? Wouldn't have got Klopp.
We finished 5th with the highest amount of points we've ever had in the Premier League. You can't say that was a bad change.
Why did you get rid of Martinez then?
Because it turns the same way it turns with Moyes. When we got rid of Moyes, we hadn't just won a European trophy. You can't compare apples with oranges.
The only thing I'm comparing is this kind of you kind of slag Moyes for a bit, which Everton did for a while this last season. West Ham slagged Moyes.
No Everton fan has slagged the job that David Moyes. What we slagged is the way it got to, and the kind of monotonous way of like the same, never actually turning up at a big team and trying to play them away. If you follow Everton home or away, or even if you look at the results when David Moyes was in charge against the big 4 or 5, it was horrendous. Now, that doesn't mean to say I don't think he was a brilliant manager for us, and he ripped up trees at times, but it got to the point where it was like, we're never ever going to break that ceiling. Now, I think when you're in the position we were in,
West Ham,
we were desperate to win a trophy. We were desperate to win a trophy, and we were desperate to get beyond, top 6 or whatever, which was what Moyes was achieving every year. The following year, we got Martinez, and we got more points than we've ever got in the Premier League. It was like something daft, like
70 points.
70 points, yeah. Any other season on record, you're pissing into the Champions League. We didn't make it. That was a bold move, and I think it was the right move at the time. 2 years later, obviously, it hasn't worked out, but
I think West Ham are,
decision.
Yeah, they are worse fans in the sense that they've just won the European Cup and they got.
There's not a chance that we'd have been getting rid of David Moyes if we'd won any cup, let alone a European Cup.
I agree there. Bit of a mad one, that Bentacur for Spurs, just been given a 7-game.
What did he say, by the way? Obviously the media aren't going to...
So they asked him about, it was something about Son and wanting a shirt for him or something signed, and he made a joke and said something like, you won't know whether it's him or one of his family members making almost like a racist remark about like people from there all look the same. It was along the lines of that. Been given a 7-game ban and $100,000 fine. What doesn't sit right with me here, right, is Enzo for Chelsea was caught singing a song about, was it black people or Africans? I think, I can't remember who it was. Racist song. Gets away with it. Bentacur gets 7-game ban and $100,000 fine. Do you know the technicality? Have you heard this? So the FA said they had to fine Bentacur because Tottenham hadn't signed him off from Tottenham's books.
So he was still a Tottenham player when he made the comments. That's
exactly.
Regret.
Whereas Enzo was apparently on Argentinian duty, so
that's on the Argentinian FA to sort it out.
Do you know what also should matter as well? The other person. Where's Son in all this?
Son said that he's not offended.
Exactly that.
But the FA have said that it doesn't matter whether he's offended or not. I just think if you're the FA, you either have a stance on racism and you say, look, I don't care whether you said it, or playing in White Hart Lane, or the new stadium, whatever it's called, whether you said it on international duty or you fucking were on Aldi with your missus and you said it. If you get caught saying something racist, we're going to fine you or we're going to ban you, whatever. How they come up at Enzo?
Sorry, that's just bonkers. I imagine we're a group of mates and, Muskie's in that position and I make a joke in a pub or something. Am I going to get arrested for that? Muskie's laughing about it. Just wouldn't happen, was it?
Yeah, apparently Bentacur said that he texted Son straight away and he was in tears apologising to Son, hoping that he never got offended. Son said, listen, forget about it, don't worry. It's kept in-house at Tottenham, it was all kind of sorted.
I'm completely against that in every way, shape.
But is that not similar to the David Coote thing from last week? He's saying something amongst his mates, it just happens to be, there's evidence of it. And then it's got back to the wrong people or whatever, and he's been banned, he's been suspended.
He's bringing the game into disrepute by making them comments, though, isn't he? I think to show a bias, an obvious bias, and almost the fact that he's and again, I've listened to obviously the podcast, don't want to go over all ground, but I think the fact that he's implicating or suggesting that he's got a conscious bias over one person because of the hatred towards a club and a person, I think it's different to making a joke about
totally, yeah. I don't like. I agree with you as well on the whole. If Son's all right with it type thing and they're all fine. I just don't like how the FA have said we're going to fine you $100,000 and give you a 7-game ban, but you're all right for that. I think that's so fucking wrong as well.
Even the message to say it would have been all right if he got signed off.
Yeah,
it's like there's a technicality there, mate. Sorry about that.
Imagine if this video and the FA had to make a statement next week and go, "Oh yeah, we've seen we've seen Harry Kane." Video of emerging of Harry Kane calling fucking old Germans Nazis, but actually It was when he was with Bayern Munich, so
It's okay.
actually, it's
We're
okay.
okay with that. Yeah. That's just.
We've seen Van Dijk this week. I think he come home early after the first game, which was good to know. I just thought it was quite interesting. Harry Kane making the point that he was disappointed that people missed the internationals, whereas I was quite happy to see Arne Slot maybe having a word with the Dutch manager.
Harry Kane's comment basically saying to him, England will always be the most important thing.
Yeah.
He basically said country over club, didn't he?
Yeah, because he's fucking not won anything at any club he's ever been to.
So he's not winning for his country either.
But he's had more chance and he's probably been closer.
And he's had more chance. He's been a Champions League final with Tottenham. He's obviously straight away when he played for Bayern's first game was in the Super Cup.
Yeah, true.
He's had more chances to win.
He's had a stinker with that statement anyway.
I know what I think. It's just I prefer players to just be honest about it.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of players down here have kind of have danced around it, haven't they? Not really says either.
And by the way, from those games, like people like Jones has had a couple of good games there for England. He doesn't get that opportunity if some of those players.
Oh, exactly. And these are the games to play those fringe players, aren't they? We won't go back into the whole Klopp debate again, but I did see an interesting article that said
Emma Razzakano. Could you call this the Emma Razzakano and Jurgen Klopp podcast?
News come out that Klopp wanted to sign Anthony to replace Salah, and Mike Gordon said no to the idea.
Fair play to it.
Fucking hell, thank God for Mike Gordon.
Mike Gordon, yeah.
But on the kind of news,
so if you listen to you, Anthony would have been a worldie.
Might have been on the top, mate. You know what I mean?
He'd have been better than Salah.
Clip that up. Anthony would have been better than Salah on the Jurgen Klopp
on the Jurgen Klopp podcast.
Brought to you in sponsorship at Emma Raducanu. Now, I only brought that up because talking of signings, Liverpool are looking at. Remember Lilian Thuram, French defender? His son's flying at Inter Milan.
Yeah,
and Liverpool apparently got tabs on him. Also, we mentioned him last week. Chiesa. Chelsea looking to loan him in January. That's one of the stories coming out this week. Bit of a mad one, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Maresca's been dead or he was in pre-season, dead precise about the type of winger that he likes and inside forwards as opposed to certain wingers.
Lad, I hope he likes his wingers being on the pitch.
Okay, that's a good point, but yeah, it's an interesting one. But he was dead vocal about saying there's certain players that Chelsea have signed in wide areas that are not going to get games, and you've seen who some of them are, and obviously he flogged. He got rid of Sterling straight away to confirm that.
Yeah, mate, on Everton then, if you've got any news for us, or seeing that the Everton takeover looks to be complete by Christmas, do you reckon this is going to make Dice nervous? Do you think he'll be happy? Will he have money to spend? Does it change much?
He's that type of person. I think he's shown in the media when he's been asked about it. He's just like, look, it is what it is. I think he knows his days and numbers as long-term or even medium-term as the Everton manager.
Really? Do you think he knows that?
Yeah, with no doubt about it. I think the owners who are coming in have got previous for going, okay, what's our best way of making short-term impact, but then in the background trying to invest in younger players so we can have a bit of a long-term view on it as well. And I just don't think Zayt ticks either of those boxes. Hasn't got a track record of playing young players for one. Doesn't particularly what's the word? It's going to use like an American political term. Then doesn't trend well with the voters, does he? The Everton fans aren't particularly
over the moon for charge.
And I think the last one he's not he's just not the personality, is he, that you want to go with a new stadium and a new image and all that. Now again, it could go back to the David Moyes thing, and it's better than
I was gonna
ever,
Yeah, I was going to say, is there a point in the season that you can see in the next 6 months where the Sam Allardyce emergency glass gets broken?
I don't think, regardless of what I've just said, then I don't think they get rid of Sean Dyche straight away, because I don't think the January transfer window is a great time to be dipping in anyway. I think we'll be okay, as I've said a number of times, and you disagree with that. And again, I don't think getting rid of Dyche is the answer, for the reason that, again, you need to then break the glass. You're like, shit, what has he had Sean Dyche and got rid of him? It's a bit embarrassing, this. I think they'll just be thinking, let's get into the new stadium, let's make plans in the background, let's maybe make a few additions in January. They're not going to compromise any new manager or coach coming in the summer. And yeah, get to that point.
I'm trying to think as well, when this kind of news, a bit of an anxious wait over this next PSR rulings, when did that all first come out last year? I don't know when it'd be, early New Year, I think, is it when the kind of accounts get put in.
And there's any coincidence that we haven't heard anything about PSR since City kicked a load of those things to the curb around like they obviously didn't. It wasn't the charges that they were up for in court, but City basically won a bit of a ruling, didn't he, to say around sponsorship and money coming in. I think that's absolutely killed the Prem now. I was like, shit, a lot of our rules were based on this particular.
So you think it might have ends up helping out Everton, do you think?
I think so, yeah, because a lot of our original appeal was around the USM money that the Premier League was saying, well, that's not valid now because of the war in Russia and because of the fact it was your owner that owned the company that was sponsoring the training ground. So that's put them in a weak position now. So I think, I'm not saying it's going to make things go away, but I think a few of the lingering charges have probably become a little bit weaker on the Premier League side.
Right, last bit then, Liverpool got Southampton, 2 o'clock Sunday, top v bottom. I think it's like the last easy game Liverpool have got. Might have it on my face now next week, but Everton only won once all season. It was against Everton.
Everton, you just said then? Everton only won once against Everton.
Southampton only won once.
You said Everton have
only won
against Everton.
Southampton only won once all season. Probably is, I mean, on paper, you'd have to say it's the easiest game for us now. And then we go into then Real Madrid. Then you've got City, the Derby, Newcastle, I think all in the next few weeks. So,
is Derby an easy game, boys? No? Surely it is.
This will be the easiest, won't it?
You said the last easy game.
Yeah, the last easy game for a while. I think, listen, the Derby, last ever Derby at Goodison. Usually be well up for that. I think that'll be a tricky game. Got to be 3 points on it, Musk.
You'd hope so, yeah. As I said there on paper, it should be a done deal straight away, but who knows? Who fucking knows?
We were poor against them and we should have comfortably still won. Like that miss from Beto when they go down the other end and score. It was the XG was daft in that game. They're a poor side then.
They're not a Premier League team.
I don't think so
at all.
Obviously it doesn't say a lot for us, but still I think we should have won that game comfortably ourselves.
Everton, Brentford, 3 o'clock Saturday.
You never know with Brentford, do you? They're a tricky team to play. I think they've got goals in them, and Bueno and Visser always seem to get on target. I think as you can see, you've got a decent record against them at Goodison.
They are the epitome of a mid-table side, right? They're coming 11th, scored 22, conceded 22. They're just proper.
I'm sure we've got, again, a pretty strong record against them at Goodison. I might be wrong here. Where's the head-to-head on there? The head-to-head is at the bottom, isn't it? But yeah, I feel like we have got a decent record against them. Won't go back. Just go down to the head-to-head in the game. But yeah, I think it's hard after an international break. I always say, and it doesn't bode well for us, that the teams that come out the international break the best are the ones who've got decent coaches. I think Sean Dyche is a very good coach. I do think Thomas Frank is a good coach. So
you've won 3 of the last 4 at home.
Yeah, I mean we have got a decent record against them. I think we've got a decent record against Brentford in general, to be fair.
Yeah, you have, unbeaten in the last 5.
Yeah.
Or 4, sorry.
There's worse games to be coming out the international break on, but I think it's difficult to predict. I would probably sit on the fence and say score draw.
Be an interesting one, actually. If I see, and I heard on the radio before, 6-4 it is for the what was it? The top 3 also for Liverpool, City. I think Arsenal was 6-4.
Who have they got?
For them all to win. So you've got obviously Liverpool, Southampton, City have got Tottenham. City are on to Tottenham. Be an interesting one. And Arsenal, Forest.
That's a tricky one. Forest are playing so well. I can't believe it, to be fair. I really can't, because
yeah, we both wrote them off, didn't we? I think. Listen, on paper, you'd think Arsenal, if you forget Forest, you'd go kind of Arsenal should easily win. And again, you'd go City at home against Tottenham, could win. Tottenham have been, you don't know what you're getting, do you? If they come out firing, you never know, could cause City problems. Plus Arsenal, playing Forest, who are fucking, again, unbelievable. You could end up having another game on Sunday where Liverpool playing, and they could go fucking 8 points clear. Maybe that's wishful thinking, who knows? And the last 2 stories, mate, to finish off, was Ian Holloway has basically said that, I think it's the Swindon he's now managing, the Swindon dressing room is haunted. That's one of the reasons why he's come out this week and he's convinced he's seen a ghost as he took over. And he's talking about going to Glastonbury and having something done and stuff. And then something like that, yeah. And then to finish things off, a lad who's hosted the show on a number of occasions, Jamie Neal, He is racing on Saturday in Haydock. He's in the 3rd race, and he is on a horse in the 3:15 called Josh the Boss. It's 10-1 at the moment. The favourite's only 5-2. 11-2. So it's a wide open race. It's won its last one. I know John, Jamie's dad, thinks a lot of the horse. It's won at this distance before. As long as Jamie doesn't have a big one on a Friday night and he's actually on the ball, got a chance.
And he's actually on the ball, as in he's not normally on the ball.
Listen, if you're with him and I beat it and you got up to some of the frequent things he's got to, then who knows? But I'm sure he'd be the consummate professional and he'd be at it. But yeah, be worth having a little few quid on it, I think.
Yeah, you're going, aren't you?
We're going. Yeah, you were meant to be, but fucked up your date. So me and Muskie were there. So if anyone is at Haydock, come over, have a beer with us, say hello, and make sure you have a couple of quid on Gene.
Anyone wants to go, there's a spare ticket as well.
There's a spare ticket, yeah.
Listen to this now on Friday morning, you might still be in luck.
You might be in luck. It hasn't been given away, but yeah. I think that's it. Thank you very much, lad. Thanks again, Musk. Thanks for the support. Don't forget, Monday on Patreon, there will be the Ollie France episode out. Also, our tips going up on Saturday morning. Hope you have a boss weekend, and we'll see you next week.